The skies over Melbourne's international airport are yet again empty after the Victorian government put a stop to all flights from overseas.
Okay, so here it is, Melbourne, beautiful Sunday afternoon. We're in lockdown again, but that doesn't mean the end of the world.
It's another setback for Samantha John, whose father, John Jobber, has been stuck in the UK since March last year.
The only thing that isn't good, can't get my dad home.
John's terminally ill and went to visit England one last time.
His reason for going to the UK was it was his dying wish to go and walk in the streets where he was born, see his surviving friends, and then to go to Ireland to see my sister who lives there.
John's family was hoping a flight into Melbourne this week would finally bring him home, but then the lockdown was announced.
By just the smallest margin of hours, he's now grounded. Those flights aren't coming in until midnight. Those flights are cancelled. No flights are coming in until midnight on Wednesday. He was due to land at 6 p.m. on Wednesday with my sister. Devastating. We had our first glimmer of hope for months. It had just been one brick wall after another, departments not talking to one another and taking forever, and DFAT completely ignoring the fact that he was a vulnerable passenger.
12 months ago, when this was all commencing, it was understandable there was a lot of confusion, but there's been almost a year now that this government has had to work this out. There needs to be real clarity to the Australian people around how these decisions are being made.
Victoria has now slashed its overseas arrivals from 1,200 per week to 0 as it tries to contain an outbreak of the UK variant. But it's unclear whether the state will return to the original number after the lockdown, with the Premier suggesting a possible reduction.
Maybe we should be much more focused on genuine humanitarian cases, compassionate cases that are in the hundreds, not people in their thousands.
At the same time, New South Wales, Queensland and South Australia are increasing their arrivals from this week. That'll bring the national total to 5,300 per week.
It's most likely because the other states and territories that have increased the number of passengers coming in are confident and comfortable with the way their hotel quarantine is run.
The number of overseas arrivals allowed into Australia has fluctuated throughout the pandemic, frustrating the plans of the 40,000 Australians still stranded overseas.
It seems as though we're being vilified, and it almost has a bit of a stop the boat rhetoric to it, which is like stop the planes.
Mahalini Fernando needs to return home from London. Her visa expired and had to be extended. The young lawyer is worried her flight into Melbourne next month may be cancelled.
They've had a year to sort themselves out with the hotel quarantine, and it doesn't really seem like the lessons that they should have learnt from the second wave have actually been implemented. We're being penalised for the government's inability to properly manage their quarantine. Either it's safe or it's not, and we shouldn't be penalised for the fact that they haven't been able to get it right so far.
Limits on overseas arrivals are closely tied to capacity in hotel quarantine, and some experts say problems in the system need to be fixed before there's any substantial increase in the long term.
Before we see an increase in the number of people returning from overseas, I would like to see hotel quarantine workers fully immunised with 2 doses of the vaccine. I'd like to see them wearing N95 masks, and also make sure, if we've got the opportunity, to set up facilities on the outskirts of a city.
It's no help for Samantha John, whose father can't return until flights resume. Their next hope is a ticket next month.
It's an incredibly helpless and frustrating feeling. We're all failing Dad. I'm really worried that he's not going to make it home.
Hi, I'm Lee Sales. Thanks for watching this story. If you'd like to watch more of 7:30's stories, they are on the left of your screen. And tap on the button below to subscribe and get the latest from ABC News.